And a good spiritual morning to you once again. I'm Father Cosmas.
I'm Presbytera Michelle.
Thank you for joining us today for a quick chat. And of course, our morning cup of coffee.
Good morning. Thank you for being with us today. We hope you're well and Happy New Year.
I was going to say, you have to say it. Happy New Year, right? Happy New Year.
2025.
And here we are in 2025. When did that happen? How did that happen?
I don't know.
2025.
Yeah.
We're living in the future.
We are. The sci-fi movies, anything.
Right.
Yeah.
We're
past a bunch of those.
We're past that. This is crazy. It's 2025. And so we thought for today we would talk, as we kind of hinted at the last video, a little bit about maybe New Year's resolutions. Now, I have no idea what we're going to say or what we're going to talk about. We didn't plan this one out at all. So let's see what happens. These are usually the fun ones when we have no idea.
I've learned over my 50-some years that I have a hard time starting new things in January. I do. It's cold. It's dark. I'm tired. It's hard, but
it is hard.
You want to make a plan, even if you're going to implement it a month later.
Well, most people give up. They have a name for the day now, right?
We heard about that. The second Friday of January.
Yeah, what do they call it?
Quitters Friday.
Quitters Friday, something like that. People give up by the 14th. So we're good for 2 weeks.
We don't want to set you up for that. We want to be more positive.
2 good weeks. Maybe that's the take home. Maybe the take home is we set our resolutions. And so we have great intentions, right? We all have good intentions. Whatever you want to accomplish this year, it's going to be done with these great intentions. Why do we fail so miserably so quickly? So it's kind of like...
Interesting.
Do
you have a thought on that?
I do. Well, I have a thought from the spiritual life.
Okay.
I can't speak to what's happening in terms of your dietary habits and... any other things
your workout routines.
Yeah, people, well, I mean, kind of it's the same thing. I think it's the same principle. People mean really well. They want to accomplish a lot. But so then they make it too hard. They try to bite off more than they can chew. Yes, okay. I think we try to do too much.
Yeah.
Just be happy with little change, a little bit of change. But to sustain it for a year, that's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah. I don't know if this, you can tell me if this is ridiculous, but I like to.
This is ridiculous.
This is ridiculous. I like to think that Lent is a better time for me to aspire to think, because it's a little bit later in the year. It's February, it's March. The days are getting a little bit longer. I feel a little bit more motivated. Right now, I just want to sit on the couch.
Sure.
I'm not very motivated to change January 1st.
Well, it's interesting because...
It's cold and dark.
It is spiritually.
Yeah.
It's not New Year's, right? Spiritually, there's no New Year's.
It's September 1st. Right?
Yeah, the church calendar starts in September. So right now, spiritually, there's no New Year's. It's just we're actually celebrating right now. Yeah. We're still celebrating
fast free.
Yeah, it's fast free. Yeah. We're getting ready we're between feasts. We're between Christmas and Epiphany. We're between the 25th and the 6th.
The 12 days of Christmas.
Right. So we're really not thinking about, okay, what am I going to accomplish this year? Spiritually, it's not New Year's.
Yeah.
So, but I think there is something to be said for make a goal, make it super easy. See if you can try to take the joy of the holiday season that you've had, hold on to a little bit of it, however small it might be, and then limp along until you get to Lent.
And then take it up a notch.
And then punch it up a notch, right? A little bit more.
I'm sorry, there's so many sweets on the dining room table. I'm not really thinking about getting, healthy right now.
Right. It's a little bit hard.
It's hard.
And that's why people stop going to the gym. A couple
Quitters
of weeks
Friday
in,
or whatever.
Right. And maybe that's the thing. Don't say, well, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to exercise, whatever you're saying. 5 days a week, 3 days a week for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. And this is what I'm going to do. And you're going to do all that. And if it's too much and you're not used to doing it, obviously you're going to be good for a week or two. And then it's going to be like hard. Reality hits and you just stop doing it. And that's the thing. Once you've sort of been confronted by failure, what do? We don't say, well, I'm going to keep trying. No, you throw your hands up and say, well, forget the whole thing because
we buckle.
I messed up. And that happens in the spiritual life all the time. People want to pray. They say, okay, I'm going to start praying. But then they try to do too much. Or I'm going to fast. They try to or I'm going to read my Bible, or I'm going to come to church. And they have this great momentum and energy, but it's not a sprint. Right? The spiritual life is a marathon. It's sustained for 26.2 miles. You have to sort of sustain it.
Start gentle training now.
Very gentle.
Just start stretching.
Yes. Spiritual warm up. Yeah. It's all just warm up. It's spiritual warm up.
Can we do that for January and February, and then we'll kick into something?
It's kind of like whatever little bit of joy you can hold on to from the holidays and make it super easy for yourself. However, I will say this. There has to be some discipline to it.
Okay.
That's the key that I try to tell people for resolutions. in the spiritual life. Again, I can't speak to what you're doing for diet and exercise or whatever else you're trying to give up or add or do. But at the very least, spiritually speaking, you want to do a couple things. Make it super easy and also, but make it disciplined. And people tend to think that those two things are...
Yeah, that those don't go together.
Right, but they do.
So how?
How?
Tell us, Father, how.
Well, because you don't have to sort of say, well, I'm going to pray every day for half an hour a day. I'm going to wake up in the morning at 5 a.m. I'm going to say my morning prayers. If you're not praying at all, that ain't going to happen.
I'm going to roll over and go back to sleep.
It's just not going to happen. Maybe you can sustain it for a little bit of time, but it's very rare that you can do that.
Okay.
So what people do is they say, well, I'm just going to pray whenever I want to pray. So there's no discipline. There's no schedule. There's no routine. I'm going to do it however I want to do it.
Yeah.
But the thing is in order to build on anything, you have to be disciplined about it. It's like, to borrow a metaphor again from exercise, it would be like saying, okay, I'm only going to exercise twice a week for 10 minutes.
Okay.
I think I can. And when is the best time for me to find those 10 minutes? Here's an easy hour that I have open. I can do the 10 minutes right here, and I can do that.
Because it's attainable.
Right. It's achievable. But I'm not just saying, well, I'm just going to exercise, but I'm not going to kill myself. Yeah. And I'm going to find time wherever I can find time. Then you're not going to find time. You're not going to do it. You need the discipline of saying, these 2 days at roughly this time, and this is what I'm going to do. Yeah. And when I exercise, what you doing? Like, you have to sort of say, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do crunches, or I'm going to do push-ups, or I'm going to do whatever it is. Yeah. You have to sort of define it and be specific and disciplined, but make it easy, right? What you're trying to do.
It's interesting that you said that, because I remember years ago, my spiritual father, I asked him to give me something to do, and he told me, and I got in the car and I thought, I could do more than that. Like, this is ridiculous, right? I can't believe, and I couldn't do it.
Of course.
I could not keep it. And, he smiled when I told him the next month or the next 6 months, whatever. Like, he knows better than I do. Like you said, something that's attainable, because I also feel, like you've said in the past, when you've attained it, then your strength, your foundation gets built. Right. You're like, I've accomplished this. I can do this. Now I can build upon it. Where if it's too hard, delete that exercise app off my phone. Right. I'm not doing that anymore.
And you don't, failure is not a fun thing. No. We don't like to be confronted by failure. So you're setting yourself up to succeed. That feels good. And you build more energy and more momentum, and then you can keep building on that. But in order to build on anything, you have to have a routine. So I would sort of say, take home in the spiritual life is make it easy. Be disciplined, or be intentional. How about this? Is that a better word?
I like that word.
Be intentional about it. Yeah. In other words, say these things at these times. And the third thing I would say is be balanced about it. Right? Try to make it easy, but try to not just say, well, I'm going to work on this one thing. So I'm going to work on my prayer life. Yeah. Let's say people might say, I'm going to work on my prayer life. I'm just using that as an example. So I'm going to do what I just said. I'm going to pray twice a week. So Wednesday and Friday, because those are our fast days, right? We fast on Wednesday for the betrayal of Christ, Friday for the crucifixion, those 2 days. And I'm going to pray for 2 minutes or 1 minute. And I'm going to do it at the end of the day, because it's hard for me in the morning. And I'm just going to say the Lord's Prayer, and I'm going to say some personal prayers. Yeah. And that's it. Okay, that's great. But you're focusing on prayer. Now I'm going to do that one thing, but I'm not going to worry about how I'm interacting with people. I'm not going to worry about going to church on Sunday. I'm not going to fast on the fast days. So I'm not going to do anything else. Yeah. You're out of balance, right? A little bit of prayer is great. A little bit of fasting is great. A little bit of coming to church regularly.
Just 1 day a week. Come on, guys. Yeah.
Is great. And say, I'm going to do, and so be balanced in what we're trying to do. So we're moving forward, on all levels, kind of together.
But I've also heard you say in the past, which I really appreciated, is you always say to play to your strength. Pick the thing. Like, if you love to read, then start reading, whether it's a Life of a Saint or the Bible. Play to your strength, because then that also helps the level of success.
Absolutely.
If I hate doing push-ups, I can't do push-ups. I'm not going to say I'm going to do 20 push-ups. I'd rather do something else that I enjoy doing, because then I know, okay, I've accomplished that. That's a good thing. So like you said, balance, but maybe start with things that come easier to you, so you feel that. And as somebody, we're all very different in our struggles. I put a Post-it up on your mirror in your bathroom to remind you, or put a timer on your phone.
Yeah, schedule it on your phone.
9:30 p.m. every night. Why is my timer going off? Oh, I'm supposed to. We have beautiful ways of helping us accomplish our goals.
Right? Just set recurring events.
Every day.
Every day. Hit the everyday button on your iPhone. Recurring event on your calendar, and it'll send you a little message. Hey, you're supposed to be doing this, and it'll be on there every day.
What a help
Absolutely.
it is. Yeah.
Play to your strength. Whatever you enjoy doing or whatever comes easier to you, focus on that, because the success in that one area will bleed out into the other areas and will help everything. And I think that that's something but the main thing is, I think first and foremost, we should say to people, try to have New Year's resolutions that are spiritual. I mean, if you're making resolutions, number one, it's good to make resolutions. Make the resolutions. Whatever the resolutions are, maybe it's like I said, it's about diet, or it's about losing some weight, or it's about, exercising a little bit more, whatever it might be. Being the kind of person that you want to be, to have a more enjoyable life. Part of that should be not just your physical health or just your mental health, but it should be your spiritual health, right? You should also be caring for your soul, not just your body. So be balanced in that way. And as you start setting those goals, say, okay, I want to be intentional about it. I want to be specific about it, but I want to make it easy for myself so I don't quit on Quitter's Friday or whatever that is in 2 weeks. I'm going to sustain it for longer than that. And like I said, then you got a little momentum going from the Feast of Epiphany, and then you're kind of limping along to the next feast, which I guess is 3 hierarchs in Dui Papandi, the presentation of our Lord in the temple, February 2nd. Yeah. And then you're limping along before you know it. It's clean Monday. Yeah. We open the Triodion, and it's clean Monday after that. And then you've got Lent to say, okay, now I've got some good momentum. I've been doing these things. I've got a month or two where I'm successful. Now I want to try to add a little bit and build up a little bit more. And in that way, we're living a better life. We're living a life closer to Christ.
Yeah, and if you're like me, where you're a little bit hesitant because January is cold and dark, that you can still make the list. And then you could be editing the list, saying, realistically, I don't think I'm going to be able to accomplish that. But I like what you said about balance, because we do neglect our spiritual growth. We feel like, no, I go to church on Sundays, I'm good, I want to work on this. But why aren't we taking it up a level? Why aren't we?
Sure, and the other
little
thing,
baby steps, but
and we should have a self-awareness and a self-editing mechanism, which sort of says, if I'm intentional, then I'm making a plan. I can revisit the plan.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm also going to borrow another metaphor from exercise, which is, if you have a personal trainer, you will be more successful. Will you not? In the spiritual life, there is such a thing as a personal trainer.
Your parish priest.
I'm right here, right? There's a parish priest.
Wherever you are.
He's spiritually your personal trainer. Make an appointment and go see him.
And it's free.
And it's free, right? The first session is free. And all remaining sessions are free. So it's kind of like saying, hey, Father, this is what I'm doing right now. What do you think? And just like your spiritual father said, no, you should probably do this, because
you're not ready for that.
Here's the thing. I've talked to thousands of people, and this is what I see works, and this is what I see doesn't work. So here I can give you the benefit of all of those conversations and sort of say, try this and see how it goes. And if it's not going well, check in with me.
Yeah, reassess.
Come back. Call me, shoot me a text. Let's reach out. Let's keep talking, so that we adjust the plan, right, and make it fit better and work better. And so it's not supposed to be about implementing these sort of rules, right, that are ruining people's lives. It's adapting the rules to make your life better and to get you closer to Christ. And you have someone there willing to help you do that. In the spiritual life, let's take advantage of it.
Wonderful.
So make the resolutions, be intentional about it, make them easy. And just try. And whatever it might be, play to your strength, be balanced, and reassess. And if you need some help in the assessment, call the personal trainer and sort of say, hey, I need to touch base with you because this isn't going as well as I had hoped. And I'd like to be doing better. And let's figure out a plan together so that we get closer and closer to Christ, and do that each and every day.
Amen.